So the numbers are in, and of course, as to be expected, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the #1 movie in the world right now. But the film actually didn't open as big as some people were predicting, and in some eyes is almost a disappointment when you consider how big Captain America 2 opened up. I wonder why that is. I'm going to talk about it. That's why this is a spoiler review, so cue title scene. Yeah, I'm doing my first ever spoiler review, and what better movie to talk about than something that, even based on critics' reaction, truly seems to be a genuine mixed bag. Yeah, you're having some people who are saying they're loving this movie, a lot of people, like myself, seem to be a little bit mixed on it, and then you're getting a ton of people who really hated this movie. And, again, I stand by my score, I stand by my rating, and I stand by the positives. But I feel that the reason for why this film has its problems is a bit more complicated, and I couldn't really get into it because I need to go into spoiler territory, which is why I'm doing this. So, without further ado, let's start with the beginning of the movie. And to be perfectly honest, I loved that scene. It's basically the same scene as the first Amazing Spider-Man, where it's, the parents leaving them with Uncle Ben and Aunt May, and then we see a little bit more as we see them on the plane. In this film, it's a plane crash. I forget the particulars of how it works in the comics, but in the comics it's got to do with S.H.I.E.L.D., and I was okay with that. That scene was excellent. I always find it interesting when you can show the same scene from another perspective and really give it a different feel. In the first Amazing Spider-Man, it was, why are my parents abandoning me? In this one, it's, I can't believe I have to abandon my child. And that's what I like about the way Mark Webb wrote this movie. For those of you who don't know, the whole thing with the death of Peter Parker's parents and what it means and what caused it was supposed to be resolved at the end of the first Amazing Spider-Man, but Sony said no and dragged it out to the sequel. I'm not going to lie, I think that was a bad decision for two reasons. A, it was obvious Oscorp did it. And B, because of this, we didn't get the untold story of Spider-Man in the last movie. And even though I loved the first Amazing Spider-Man, you do leave the theater feeling a little cheated. But this film proves that, Mark Webb, our director, and I guess the one you could sort of say is in the captain's chair for this series, knows what he's doing. Because again, he did make it work, but because there's so much other crap going on in this movie, it really loses its impact. So by the time Peter finds the Roosevelt, train car, nice pull, they got the history right on that one. By the time they find that car and he has the big speech from his dad, and it's kind of impactful and heartfelt, it very well is a good scene. Andrew Garfield does a good job, but because there's so much else going on in this movie at the same freaking time, it loses a lot of the emotional impact, and again, it was so obvious. All I came from leaving this movie as in regards to Oscorp is, Oscorp bad, Parker's good. I liked the little linking the, Spider-Man DNA and genes and stuff with the actual spiders themselves. Again, kind of obvious, but, a nice touch. And, same goes with the death of Gwen Stacy. Look, anyone who knows comics knew what was going to happen going into the movie. But the scene when the death happens, what I thought was beautiful. Maybe some people will hate it, some people won't like it. I thought it was excellent. Essentially, a lot of people are leaving this movie saying, oh, it's the death of Gwen Stacy in movie form. Oh, yeah, because that's in there, but I do think it does work, and I think that's because these two have such excellent chemistry. They bounce off each other so well. A lot of their scenes together, I'm like, oh, that's cute. It's not like with Mary Jane, where every scene she's in feels shoehorned. The Gwen Stacy stuff has a natural flow to it when it's allowed to be there. And I loved the way they did it in this movie, because in the end it has that effect from the comics where Peter is partially responsible for Gwen's death. He couldn't protect her, he couldn't save her. Obviously in the comics it's more his web snaps her neck. Here it was kind of played off, maybe it was that her head hit the bottom, maybe she still gets snapped by the whiplash. But I love that idea that Gwen's death is inevitable. Because if Gwen wasn't there, Spider-Man couldn't have stopped Electro, because Gwen did everything with the power plant and the controls and all that stuff. And like it or not, Gwen's death, it was, like I said, inevitable because of the way it worked itself out and the way the script came together. That was excellent. A lot of people are mixed on Green Goblin with the whole doing it with the Han, and how he can just magically fly the glider. That doesn't uber bug me, because, you know, yeah, it is what it is. The thing is that I'm okay with this because Dane DeHaan's Harry Osborn came off as crafty and intelligent. Again, as I said in my other review but couldn't go into, if you look at this film as a Peter Parker versus Harry Osborn story, you get a lot out of it. When you look at it as if Electro is someone Harry Osborn is using and manipulating. Their take on Harry Osborn is he's very intelligent, very crafty, always thinking. And that works so well in this movie. I really felt like Electro is just this lunatic who's been given godlike powers, and he is the toy of our Goblin. He is the tool. And yeah, that's probably what they're going to go for in the Sinister Six movie, and that part of it I buy. I loved the scene where Harry was talking to Electro in Ravencroft. I thought the German doctor was kind of weird. I liked the little nods. I liked seeing the vulture wings and the Doc Ock, tentacles. Slowly the Sinister Six existing in this universe is making more and more sense. But yeah, like everyone else, I'm really pissed off about the Rhino thing at the end of the movie. That scene. On the one hand, it's cool. A lot of people are saying the movie should have ended with Peter Parker sad and like, what do I do next? I don't think that's a good idea. And the reason for that is about what is Spider-Man about. Spider-Man is about accepting your responsibility, accepting who you are and the things in your life, and still being able to move forward. I feel like resolving the movie and resolving that and showing that all those horrible things, they did still happen, but he has to live with them and move forward and accept, with great power comes great responsibility. I thought it was a little cheesy with the kid in the costume, and yeah, it is a little silly. And I like the idea that it's almost like maybe Aunt May knows he's Spider-Man deep down. I think that's kind of clever. I like the speech Gwen gives. I love how that is what will move Peter Parker on and keep him going. The whole 5-month montage, when it first started, I thought, oh no. But Garfield sold it. Garfield sells this whole movie to me. He's just so good. I believe him as Peter Parker. I believe him as Spider-Man. He owns this role. Sorry, Tobey Maguire. You were a little too geeky and too stupid. And you suck as an actor. But the thing is that it all just comes together well. I just feel like if Sony didn't have their hands in everything, and I understand where it's coming from, they've got to be real careful, because, they've got a lot riding on this franchise and a lot to worry about. And I understand that, but again, you need to let the director direct. And again, Mark Webb takes advantage of every little thing he can, but one man can only do so much. I seriously hope for the next movie, Mark Webb gets a little bit more control, or if Mark Webb leaves, which, not everyone can stick to one franchise for too long, whoever comes next does an excellent job and is given the ability to really tell the story, and that the studio just leaves their faith in their creators. They're in a tough situation. This whole crazy situation with Marvel and rights and all this is very unprecedented, and yeah, it's a real tough situation to work through. But when it comes down to this movie, I still liked it. I still thought it was fun. I still thought it had a lot of well-done drama, all held by the actors themselves. I thought the script, though choppy and messy at points, did its best with what it could, and delivered a decent Spider-Man movie. And that's all there is to it. And what did you think? In the comments section below, give me your thoughts on Amazing Spider-Man 2, any of the spoilers, Spider-Man stories you want to be adapted in a film, and as always, click to like and click to subscribe, because at the end of the day, film is about entertainment and having fun, and that's what I try to do.